Welcome. I just wanted to try to help any of you that are getting a head start in your studying for your final exam, especially the material that you guys took on your quest last week, to help clarify some concepts, because there's just not a lot of time to go over much before the final exam. So let this serve as a tutorial on how to understand the concepts that you should be understanding from Chapter 6 that you may not have understood the first time, but that you need to also understand before you take the final exam this week. So I think the neat thing about this video is you'll be able to pause and rewind, and you'll be able to get your needs met, because you'll be able to look at this and listen to it as many times as you want to in order to get it right. So I'm going to go through the solutions to the problems and indicate where some of you made mistakes. And if you are watching this today, Monday, it's probably because I called your house and told your parents that you needed to do this. And so hopefully you've got a good attitude, and your attitude is that of, I want to learn this material so I don't make the same mistakes again. Okay, so starting with, over on the right hand side, you'll see a copy of the actual quest that you saw on Thursday or Friday, as long as you were in period 1 or 6. Period 2 had a different one. I meant to make 3 different versions, but anyway, ends up 1 and 6 got this one. Period 2, if you're in that class, then your quest is exactly the same. Let's see, the questions are the same. It's just that the numbers might be a little different. In other words, when I show you how to do the solution, you just have to apply the solution to the different numbers and put the numbers that you got in place of the ones that you see here. So the actual answers might not be the exact same, but the concepts are. So starting with numbers, I'm just going to go from the beginning here. Number 1 and 2, you just had to draw an angle in standard form. Some of you missed points on number 2 because you didn't label it as negative 3 pi over 4, which is what it said to label it as, negative 3 pi over 4. Some of you used 225 degrees. Some of you indicated a positive angle. And most of you got this angle, the shape of it, but you didn't label it correctly. But that wasn't the biggest problem. One of the biggest problems in the very beginning here was that some of you didn't remember the formula for the area of a sector. So for number 3, the formula is 1/2 r squared theta. Okay, and so r here is 10 meters. So you see the 10 goes in place of the r. The theta must be in radians, and that's pi over 6. Plugging that in, you get 26.18 square meters. And some of you missed points, and you're not going to be happy about this, but it's your own fault, because on this part of basically the answer template, on this part of your test that you were handed, at the top of that, it said, I'll read it exactly, it said, use the space provided below to clearly show your work and answers to the problems 1 through 13. Okay, so it says that. It says you have to use the space provided, because this is all I'm looking at. Okay, I'm not going back to your test, and some of you, there's probably a handful of you, that got a really low score on this because you didn't have your work that supported what your answer is. And so anyway, that's just the way it goes. You need to read the directions and follow those. So anyway, those that missed number 3 didn't understand the formula, didn't remember it. Number 4, same thing. You're supposed to find the length of the arc, and that was a formula problem as well. S equals r theta, r being 10, theta being pi over 3. You could have left it like that, but then it did say to round your answer to 3 decimal places, and there you see the answer. Okay, number 5, same thing. You see that the radius is 5, and the angle, though, being 30 degrees, you had to convert that to radians. Number 6 was asking you to find the tangent of t, and the tangent of t, this basically you are given the coordinates, and you just have to take the y coordinate and divide it by the x coordinate. When you show the work, and it says to find the exact value, when you show the work and you get the answer, you get full credit. Okay, 4.387 is not the answer I was looking for. That's why I put a big X through it. It says find the exact value, and that's not that. The exact value is radical 77 over 2. Number 7, you just had to make sure your calculator is in degree mode, tangent of 21 degrees. You didn't have to have any work there at all. You got full credit for 0.384. It says round to 2 decimal places, but guys, we have talked about that over and over again. These are the tests that are generated from the software that comes with the book. I've told you, no matter what it says, always round to 3 digits after the decimal. Most of you did that, some of you didn't. Doesn't matter what it says here. It says 2, but I've told you, always round to 3 after the decimal, unless it means money, unless we're talking about money. Money you can round to the nearest penny. Okay, that being said, most of you got number 7 right. Most of you got number 8 right. You had to go into, number 8 was secant of pi over 5. That's 1 over the cosine of pi over 5, and there you see the answer there. Okay, now we go to number 9. Number 9 was not only a problem that was testing your ability to understand how to use your calculator, but as we've talked about before, unless you see a degree symbol, it always means radians. So some of you didn't know what to do. Some of you wrote the radian and the degree, but that's not what this is saying. So this problem, worth 5 points, was testing you, can you figure out what the cosine of 9 radians is on your calculator, and do you understand the concept enough to know that when you don't see a degree symbol, it means radians. Cosine of 9 is the cosine of 9. Not degrees. It's the cosine of 9, and that's what you see here, negative 0.911. Okay, number 10, the cotangent. You didn't have to really do any work here. I allowed just negative 2 over 3 without any work there. Even if you had no work, just had the answer, I was fine with that. But it's just it's the adjacent over the opposite, or if you want to think of it as the x over the y. Tangent of theta is y over x. Cotangent is x over y. And so negative 2/3 is the answer there. Now number 11 and 12, you just had to be able to make your way around the unit circle. Sine of 17 pi over 3. I gave you credit for this even if you didn't have any work here for this one either. Negative radical 3 over 2 is the answer because 17 pi over 3, you go 6 pi over 3, then 12 pi over 3, and if you just counted by pi over 3s, you go 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So 17 pi over 3 is right here, and that's the same as 5 pi over 3, and the sine of that angle is negative radical 3 over 2. Okay, number 12, same deal. All right, if you count by 4s, you get 1, 2, 3, all the way 8 pi over 4 all the way around, then 16 pi over 4, 17, 18, 19 is right over here in the second quadrant. So the secant is 1 over the cosine, and secant of 3 pi over 4 would be the same as this one here. And anyway, I accepted negative 2 over radical 2. I didn't even need you to rationalize the denominator. Okay, so most of you got those. Number 13, most of you missed the minus sign on this one, which is unfortunate because it says clearly that it's in the fourth quadrant, and the tangent in the fourth quadrant is negative, and so I'll let you look at that. You probably forgot the minus sign. I'm going to start a new video for the no calculator part. So we're going to wrap this up, and hope that helped.